Good, yeah.
Okay, so I count in, nothing, I go in.
Yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the south-afrifur Pawdcast. You're listening to myself, Ivik Wolf, and my co-host is Scratch. We apologize for the slight delay in our broadcasting schedule. We were just having a small amount of technical difficulties. Secondary point is that the other technical difficulty that we have also had is our guest that we've actually had or were supposed to have has been AFK on Telegram for a small period of time. We are trying to get a hold of him, but for now we're going to be chatting to you guys for a while. We'll be talking about a couple of furry issues. Those of you guys who are here on the live chat, you're more than welcome to ask us a couple of questions in respect to whatever the hell you guys want to know. In respect to either furry news, things that you want to actually speak about. I'm not necessarily sure what you guys want to know, but we're more than welcome to actually, we're more than willing, rather than welcome, to answer any kind of questions you'd like to ask us. I see that we actually have a fair few people here. We've got a couple from Atlanta, we've got Moscow, we've got Zurich, we've got Eschborn, I'm from Centurion, so on and so forth. So Wolfel Steelpole, Snifix, Ricky Jones, Lugix, Kinkinzade, Kyla, and so on and so forth. Thank you guys for joining us this evening. Kink is obviously saying good evening. More than happy to try and say hello to you guys. So yeah, guest unfortunately not here this evening, but there are a couple of things that we probably would want to speak about. Yeah. So actually, again, it's been a while since you guys have heard our voices beyond just mine. Now, obviously, also Scratch's. Mm-hmm. It's been like a month, practically.
Yeah.
Yeah. What with the moving and everything like that, like, I mean, I was having trouble seeing whether we'd be able to, what's the word, do a stream if the internet was going to hold out long enough. Damn it. Sorry, I was doing something with my mouth.
Apparently.
Yes, apparently. But yeah, so the internet is up. It's running. We're using Web Africa for their LTE-A currently. And it's actually pretty damn good. I mean, like if I do, for instance, Badge is watching videos right now. He's connected via the Wi-Fi. I'm connected via wire, and we've been playing games and streaming and all that kind of stuff pretty easily currently. And we've got about 170? Yeah, 170 gig download cap.
Okay, it's not too bad.
For like $800. It's pretty good.
We're also shifting to something like chunkier now.
Yeah, chunky sounds fun.
Chunky and funky.
Chunky and funky, like a monkey. Yeah, obviously not a lot of... Oh, there is a large amount of what seems to be Russian typed in here by a person named Ricky Jones. I think that's Russian, I'm not necessarily sure. I'm going to put it through Translate, and obviously if it's swearing, then I'm going to be very unhappy about it.
Is it Cyrillic?
I'm from Russia, and I do not understand you. I apologize that Ricky Jones cannot understand us. We're from South Africa. Welcome to the stream.
Yes, apologies. My Russian is quite rusty.
My Russian is terrible, actually. Horrifying.
Like, literally the only Russian I know is the swear words that they use in online games. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We apologize. We could always do this entire stream in Afrikaans. That'd be great.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a fucking home run. Like maybe the people in the Netherlands can get us, but yeah. Maybe
some of the Germans might be able to understand us. And Swiss people.
Maybe. Like it's not going to be a super interactive stream, let's just say that.
Also, it seems like we've dropped out again.
Really?
I don't know. Well, I just played this and it's like, okay, this is better. That's good. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I think we're.
I chatted with Brav and he says he can hear us, so we're good.
It's good to hear. But yeah, so I once again apologies that our guest isn't with us just yet. Hopefully, we'll be able to catch a wake up call there. Otherwise, a random streaming time always sounds like fun. Badge is obviously right next to me. We could have him join. I'm not necessarily sure. There'd be mass amounts of echo if he joined on the chat as well. And we have to deal with that while we're playing games and everything like that, so that might be difficult. So yeah, he's responded again, and I do apologize. I'm going to obviously just translate these as we go, just to see whether there is anything that I can do about this.
Right.
He understands a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
He says at least he understands.
If the pace of the conversation picks up, he might sort of drop off. Yeah, just send him apologies. Like Russian, Russia was never really on our list of audience members or like Russian speakers.
Yeah. Let's see.
What? I don't know why there's a pot of glue sitting here on my desk, and for some reason I opened it up and sniffed it just for the lulz. Like I'm literally catching myself sniffing glue right now.
Why are you sniffing glue?
I don't know. I was just sitting here.
That's awkward. Okay, well, I sent her a response.
Alright, cool. No news from Tempo?
Nothing. Still nothing. It is quite annoying.
Yeah, let's relegate this to a chaos cast.
Yeah, for now.
No, like, yeah, I don't think we're gonna get him anytime soon, to be dead honest.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Okay, so chaos cast it is. So, guys, those of you guys who don't know, the rules of a chaos cast currently are we talk about anything that we want to talk about, we listen to everything that you want to. Oh, he says nothing wrong. Right, so pretty much we'll interact with our crowds that are here. Those of you who are listening, who are in the live chat, you're more than welcome to join us in chat. If anything, sometimes we tend to do this thing where we actually randomly call people on Skype and we randomly chat to them. So if you are willing to do that,
Skype is a bit Skype is a bit discordant. Like, just putting people on the air could be tricky sometimes. Although we are considering moving this to a Discord channel, and if we have a Discord channel, then we could randomly pull people into conversations if needs be. I think that might be better because more people, I believe, have Discord open than Skype at any given point in time.
Huh. Yeah, fair enough. So, Kink obviously mentions the following. Furries are addicted to all sorts of stuff, and Scratch is to glue. Hehe. You're addicted to glue.
I am addicted to crafting things, if that's what you mean. I'm currently, like, the reason why this stuff is here is I'm making a print and play cutout version of Secret Hitler, but I'm like, I'm using actual cards and sticking things to them, like old Magic cards, and I'm essentially changing the wording as well because let's say there are sensitive parties involved at my office who would prefer that, who would like the game to be,
safe for work.
Let's say the theme a little bit changed a little bit. The characters changed a little bit.
Secret Hitler?
Yeah.
The characters changed?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Because, the other option was essentially that Max Temkin and the people who made the game put out a version... not a version. They essentially just brought out some new cards to replace the fascist team with... members of the current Republican administration, and Hitler is replaced with Trump.
Okay, that works. I'm more than happy with that anyway.
He's a fascist.
He is definitely a fascist. So Tempo says that he is ready. He's just had a couple of PC issues, so he'll be with us in a sec.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
That's awesome.
We can pull this thing out of the fire.
Yeah! Nothing's on fire anymore!
Yet.
Yet. I intend to, obviously... Gondor calls for aid. My thoughts and prayers are with Gondor, sending positive energy their way.
Mm-hmm. Did I ever point you to that one game? The like little Flash Flash website game, whatever, called Thoughts and Prayers.
No.
It's quite funny.
Huh. I made voodoo dolls of my dogs just so I could still rub their bellies while I'm at work.
Aww.
Wholesome memes. That's a good meme.
Oh boy.
What's up?
No, they've added some things to City Skylines, it seems.
Oh. Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah. Interesting thing, right? So, the Japanese culture is actually quite an interesting one. And I just need to figure this out now. I've checked this on my Twitter timeline, which is quite weird. I'm just going to say detect language.
Mm-hmm.
I introduce you to Shirime, a Japanese yokai whose aim is to undress before the people and to frighten them by teaching them the eye that it has instead of a butt hole.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I'm going to copy this link and I'm going to send it to you to see what it looks like.
Okay. I am frightened.
And it actually comes out in a large amount of anime. It's creepy as all hell.
That's nice, I suppose.
Yeah, there are more pictures. This is weird. It's actually kind of awkward.
Okay.
Okay. Tweets aside, I'm actually going to move away from that because this is creepy as all hell.
Yeah.
Just asking Tempo how long. I'm just going to add him to the call slong and see what happens.
Okay.
Add to group call. Hopefully it doesn't do that weird ringing thing. Okay.
I believe I shut that down.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I shut that down.
Yeah. I also shut that down on my side. So we are calling him in. Hopefully he'll just pick up eventually. He has been added to the group. That's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Cuphead.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know what it is, but once a year, like there's a game.
Hello.
Hey,
hello.
You're live.
I am live.
Welcome to the land of the live.
Also alive.
Sorry, my hard drive died in my main computer.
That sucks.
Yeah,
it really does suck.
It's okay. And so I had to scramble to do this, but luckily, whatever, I get another hard drive. But I was it was kind of annoying. I'd been having weird little I had an audio issue before that, and I was like, okay, well, whatever. I'm sure it's fine. And then no, and then it was kaput. So, well, how are we today? Hello, Internet.
I'm pretty sure the Internet is doing well.
That's good. I would miss the Internet if it was gone.
Oh, yes.
So would I. Hopefully nobody actually tries to make it gone in your side of the world.
Well, the net neutrality debate's opened up again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a thing. I don't know. So, how are you doing?
I'm doing quite well. I got married.
Congrats!
Yeah, thank you. I actually was
When?
like a couple weeks ago. My fiance, we've been engaged for like 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's see. Like, no, we had like an outdoor wedding, and it was on, it was all very nice. It was on like the fall equinox.
Aww.
And like, it was we're not super religious, meaning we're not religious at all. So some of my more conservative relations were like, is this a pagan wedding?
Yeah.
Just because it's on the autumnal equinox.
Right, like it could be. It was outside. We jumped over a broom, like, Is that a thing? Like, I know you guys have Dutch influences. Like, is that a thing? You guys jump over brooms at weddings? Well, anyway, a bunch of different cultures like jump over a broom to like demonstrate the like transition into domesticity, like together.
The only one that I know of currently is obviously the entirety. They call it most tying the knot.
Yeah, that one. I was at a wedding like
tying up.
Oh, sorry. Yeah? Go ahead, Ivik.
No, go for it.
No, I said I was
furries always want to bring up tying the
knot. But yeah, I was actually I was at a wedding like that. The whole pagan, like this 8 or something, like twines, cords, like wrapped and tied.
Yeah. It was that deal.
Yeah,
like,
that whole thing.
Yeah, and like it was one of those things where like since my fiance is an archaeologist and like most of her friends are archaeologists and the officiant was an archaeologist, we were just like, they were like, oh, and we'll do this and we'll have this, and we brewed mead for the event.
Ooh.
And like, yeah, and like, we had one of those. Have you seen those cakes that look like a geode rock?
Oh yes, God! Did you have one of those?
We had one of those cakes. Like, it was nice.
I am super.
Yeah, I used my connections in town to get like. Oh, this guy I know who runs a barbecue joint smoked like individual steaks, like cut it up and then smoked them overnight. So it was delicious. And so it all worked out. Like, it was a little bit like the weather was a little inconsistent, but it made for some really good photos because everything was like just on the edge of freezing and super hazy.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so anyway, but it was just so much chaos, like planning it and setting it up, that I'm like, I haven't even told the furries. It doesn't matter. I'll still get married even if I don't tell the furries on time. I will still technically be married. There's no box on the form that says, "Did you tell the furry fandom?"
Yeah. Well, also, I'm pretty sure, like, if the wedding isn't, furry themed, then I suppose there's no real reason to tell them.
Right. Well, and like, it's just one of those things where like, do you like then like live stream the event? Like, what all do you do? Like, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so it's all good. But anyway, so yeah, anyway, she hasn't divorced me yet.
Okay.
And it's going well.
How long have you guys been married?
Well, since the equinox.
So that's what.
That's the 21st
of September.
Yeah. It's your equinox too. It's just your other one.
Yeah, it was our vernal equinox and it was your autumnal equinox.
Yeah. We coordinate these things, the hemispheres.
Mm-hmm. By accident, but we do.
But we do.
Huh.
So, well, what have you guys been up to?
Actually, there's just a thing from Kink here, who mentions the Zulu culture. The elder ladies will walk in front with traditional brooms and sweep the floor in front of the married couple, symbolizing the clearing of the path for a happy marriage.
Oh. Right, yeah. Our archaeologist officiant mentioned, I don't know if it was by name, but yeah, she mentioned like various cultures that like have a broom involved somehow. And so like the Welsh, and then I think like the Dutch, and then I think like a couple different groups in Africa, like the Zulu, and then like there was, because like one of the things is like no matter your social status, you probably have a broom somewhere.
Yeah.
And so it seemed like a handy prop. And like anyway, but yeah, so we went and gathered, like, since it's not a practical implement, we went out and like gathered driftwood and like wildflowers, and it was all very like, we made it out of that. Now it's over our door, and we're telling everyone that that's a thing, but that's not a thing. Like, we're telling everyone that's what you do with it. You have to put it over your door, because they're just like, yeah, what? Oh yeah, that seems right. Yeah, that seems right. I'm like, that's what you got to do for luck. And then a year later, on the anniversary, you got to have a bonfire and burn it. Oh. I'm like, yeah, for luck and like a good harvest. Don't you know about this? And they're like, oh yeah, I heard about that. I guess, yeah.
It's damn. I wish I had your skills for bullshit.
Well, I get paid for it, so
exactly.
That's my job. It's writing. So
true that. Yeah. True that. But you can craft bullshit over time. That was like completely out of thin air.
Right,
like so, on the spot,
as you do. Right, it was also windy for the exact part where we were saying our vows, so we've been telling everyone lies about what was in our vows. So, like, honey, would you go pick up that pizza for me? Well, it was in our vows. And people will be like, was that really in your vows? I'm like, yeah. Didn't you hear it? And, like, we'll say that about literally everything now.
Oh my god. Do you have a video about that? Otherwise you can send it in for bad lip reading.
Right. Did you plug in the? I promise to love, honor you, and like plug in the styrofoam. So, anyway, did you guys have questions about like my part of the world at all? Like,
yeah, actually, that was part and parcel of one of the reasons why you're here. Beyond that, obviously, just having you here is a lot of fun.
Yeah. So how is that? Like the, I don't know, like quickly smoldering garbage fire that is whatever the hell is going on in the U.S. right now.
Well, like at least it's a garbage fire for both sides.
Yeah. Which
is the only equivalency I will make. It's like. The Trump is the first president to have not passed any laws. Like, he has not succeeded. The Republicans can't organize themselves because he would sign anything that they put in front of him, because then he could parade it around as a victory. Mm-hmm. But there is, in fact, the Republican, they have not made any laws. They have not passed any laws. Whenever they try to, we have massive nationwide protests against anything they want to do. Because it turns out that they're very unpopular. He is like, like a third of the country approves of him, of like likely voters or something, and so it's going very poorly. We were supposed to like already have collapsed as a society by this point into like Handmaid's Tale, and so
also known as like into the Handmaid's Tale, also known as Mike Pence's fantasy world.
Right, and so like, and now Mike Pence has been implicated in the Russia stuff, and like, so all these people who are like, well, don't oppose Trump because then we'll get Pence. I'm like, they both came in together. You think that the vice president didn't know he was getting illegal assistance from a foreign, like an enemy power? Mm-hmm. You did, yeah, that's not. And so, anyway, so yeah, it's been an interesting time.
I think it's been fun.
Let's see. Oh, we had to. When Trump came here, his staff even said, like, for an ego boost, because it's a red state and he knew nothing else about North Dakota. But it turns out that North Dakota's like full of communists, and so they hate him.
Interesting.
And so, yeah, and so, well, because it's very cold here, and like we need like
what?
These
so cold
services.
Equals communism.
That's true. Actually.
Well, have you not seen what happened to Russia?
Yeah, well, Canada's doing fine.
Canada is quite.
They're very socialist.
Canada is the reason that we are so like socialist. We get a lot of it from Canada.
Okay.
And so we have things like, all of the pharmacies here have to be owned by the employees, Like a lot of the gas stations are owned, and like food and like grocery stores are owned by employees, and like Walmart's really mad because they can't have like pharmacies and things here. It's illegal. And like all of the like grain elevators and like fuel stations and things, and there's like a state bank, and like we have like universal health care for kids but not grown-ups.
How progressive?
Yeah. But anyway, so Trump showed up and was like, because basically North Dakota was like almost a blue state until the Koch brothers came in and paid tons of money to do a hostile takeover of our government. Mm-hmm. But like for my whole life, we never sent any Republicans to Congress up until like 2010. Huh. And so, but anyway, so yeah, like Trump came here because he thought it would be like an ego boost because an oil refinery asked for him to come, and just massive protests lined the entire way from the airport to the refinery and back. I saw two ladies get restrained from mooning him. Like two 70-year-old ladies get restrained from mooning him by some union guys were like, no, don't. What are you doing? And people were booing. People, he had some supporters. He had when I say there are large crowds, there's a crowd of 100 people for waiting at the refinery, and we were all just booing him. And then he had a dozen or so supporters, which is a lot for North Dakota. That's most of the people who live here is that group. There are 5 people who live in my whole state, and so no, it's not true. But there are not that many people here though, and so and then the Antifa grandmas were trying to start fights with the Trump Nazis, and the Trump Nazis were too embarrassed to fight them, which is literally a group. There's literally 6 or 7 older ladies, retired ladies, who are I have one fuck left to give, and I'm saving it to inherit to the grandbabies.
Nice.
And so they only know me as Tempo when I go to these things, and so they're like, "This is Tempo. He's a cartoon dog writer."
And how do they feel about that?
Oh, they don't. Yeah, they're it takes all kinds. But the pipeline protesters showed up, and they're serious because they were in a camp for a year, and they came and showed up, and I'm just this random cowboy, and they're like, "Who's that cowboy guy?" And before I could answer, one of them goes, "Well, that's Tempo. He's a cartoon dog on the internet and a writer." And they're like, "Oh, okay."
You meet the most fascinating human beings.
I know. And the let's see, we so they showed up, and I stole the news cycle when Trump showed up. He was supposed to be the thing they talked about, and instead all the local news talked about me because I had a small sign that I held up that looks like this.
Where'd you post that?
You can put that in the chat if you wish.
I will do so.
Anyway, so I made a small sign, and it was so uncool of a sign. It was so lame, the thought of... Because it's... Okay, so for context, lutefisk is a gelatinous fish dish. It's very terrible. We make it here. We white people eat it. We don't know why. And it's from Norway, and it's basically a dried fish that has been treated with lye so nothing can live in it, and then you rehydrate it and it turns into a jello, but it still tastes like fish. Okay. It's kind of like a soap. And so you then and this is a traditional dish, and no one here knows why we still eat it. No one can explain to me. I use that as my example of without diversity, we'd only have lutefisk. And this stole the entire news cycle. For days, nothing. This was the main thing about the trip that everyone talked about because it was on the route.
Yeah.
Because, like, go ahead.
No joke. I think I might have seen this on Reddit.
Yeah, it was on Reddit. It was on Fark. It was on, like, yep. That was
How
me.
do you do these things?
Well, it turns out that you can set your printer to print, like, a rasterized file. And so those are all just, like, printer pages. And then I used some tape. And then I got a refrigerator box, like 2 refrigerator boxes, and I cut them out. And then I folded them up and put it in my car. It took like 8 hours. But it was worth it. And so, yeah, because people were really confused by it. Because, like, you have to understand, like, it's not, like, good food, but people are proud of it, so it's kind of awkward. And so, like, people would drive by, and they'd see a cowboy with an American flag, and they'd see a sign, and they'd go, yeah, like, you know, from their, like, Confederate flag truck. They'd be like, yeah, thumbs up. And then, like, the middle of it, they'd flip out and see that I was actually, like, supporting diversity and try to flip me off, but look like they were casting a spell or doing some sort of Naruto Ann thing. One guy almost crashed his motorcycle. It was great.
Wow.
And then because, like, you have to, you know, like, they don't expect there to be a cowboy, and they don't expect the, like, anti-Trump protesters to have flags, and so it's kind of confusing.
Yeah. Way to shape the narrative around what they know.
Right. They're just like, what's happening? Like, oh, the pipeline protesters were like... Well, I heard one of them talk. They were near enough to me that they knew I was going to hear, but still, one of them turns to the other one and goes like, dude, we should have cowboys at all of our things. It really confuses everyone. Like, they don't know what to say. And the other guy's like, yeah, man. Like, you know, and so, like, anyway, but so the best part was, so I arrive at I had this, like, out on the bridge and whatever, and, like, the news crews came up and interviewed me. Like, they should have been recording Trump arriving, but they were, like, talking to me about my sign. And so, like, you know, like, oh, senators, like, one of our senators' staff, like, was amazed by it and took pictures of it and, like, you know, whatever. But so anyway, I arrive at the refinery with this thing, and there's, like, a group of, on one side of the road, on the refinery side, there's like 20 pro-Trump guys, and they're like all, you know, yelling, and they're wearing their red hats, and they're, you know, saying, you know, why don't you come over and fight us? And on the other side, there's like 100 anti-Trump protesters, 6 or 7 of which are elderly women who are like, why don't you bring it over here? I'll fight you right now. And, like, by the way, like, these guys, they're, like, serious ladies. Like, they ripped a Confederate flag off some guy's truck and burned it.
Wow.
Like...
Kamikaze grandmas, bro.
Well, right, well, they always have... You think about it, is, like, they all smoke, so they all have cigarette lighters. And so... Like, they were ready. They just did it. And, like, no one stopped them because, are you gonna beat up a grandma? And it's always worked, like, thus far. And I'm like, I don't know, I'm not going to get involved. And so anyway, I show up with my sign, and so on the side, you know, that I'm on of the street, there are 3 guys behind us, and they're across from the refinery. There's like a storage rental place, and so this guy is sitting there with 3 guys are sitting there, and they're in lawn chairs. They're watching the whole thing, and he's like, "Well, I own this property," and they're all like drinking like Pabst Blue Ribbon, like terrible cheap beer. Yeah. And they're like, you know, if you're going to say anything bad about our president, you better not be here. I'm like, first of all, I'm in the ditch. And he's like, well, I own half the ditch. Because, like, legally the city can only use, like, half the ditch. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, I have this sign. I start unfolding it. And it's because it starts out like, you know, it's in sections. So I'm unfolding and unfolding. He's like, well, that's going to say something bad about Trump. Oh, you better not. Da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, it's not. And they're like, you're a liar. Da-da-da, you stupid communist. Da-da-da. And I'm unfolding and unfolding it. And then it says it about Ludafisk. And they all go silent. And they go, well, and one of his friends goes, well, what's wrong with Ludafisk? All sad. And I said, well, nothing, but you don't want just Ludafisk. Well, no. And he turns to his friend, no, I don't want just Ludafisk. That'd be awful. Yeah, no, I don't. And I'm like, and that's the point of the sign. And they're like, huh. And so then I turn it, and like the crowds are like ready to like kind of like fight each other. Like it's like, you know, yeah, you come over, da 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 da. Like stop taking pictures of me, you know, da 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 da. And so like I turn my sign around, and they all stop and squint and kind of read it. Like, oh, what the? Because it's a giant, you know, it's easy to read. And then again, like kind of a hush falls over, and the other side, you know, goes, Why you gotta bring Lutefisk into this? Like Lutefisk is some poor thing that like I you know, is sad that I have politicized Lutefisk. Like, oh, and like then no one wanted to fight anymore because it would have been really lame. Like you don't want to get your picture taken like fighting in front of this sign because it's so lame. It's like a black hole of coolness. Because like when people want to fight, they want to fight because, oh man, like I showed that guy, I punched him, you know, I showed him what was what, and I was cool. But if you're like, you know, first it was bad enough that the old ladies wanted to fight him, but then like it was even worse that I had this terrible sign about this terrible food that we're all kind of embarrassed that exists anyway, and so then they started kind of trickling away. So by the time like Trump and everybody left, no one was out there to support him. And our senator took like, you know, a bunch of video of the like sign and whatever as she came by, because she's our like one Democratic representative, and so she was just like, this is the best, why do we not have more of this? And so like the Democratic Party was like, yeah, can we get this on a shirt, let's do this, whatever. Like, you know, I had meetings with them last week. I've been making them a bunch of like shirts that say like really inoffensive things like that, like who you could wear it in, you know, like, because you know, like when you don't want to wear like a political shirt sometimes because people will hassle you if you're like, you know, bump into the wrong person. But if it's dorky enough, no one will say anything.
It's so
I designed them some shirts that say things like, well, and you have to like read them all in like the North Dakota accent, and so they're like, you know, well, without clean water, we'd be up a creek. And like, who can be like, screw you, hippie, I don't like clean water. And like, another one has like a picture of a tractor and it says, we can only grow where we don't pollute. And like, who's gonna be like, screw you?
Wow.
Like, I don't. Right. And so like, I made them all these like, the edgiest one is here. I'll send you.
Edgy in quotation marks, the size of fucking Texas.
Yeah, here there are two edgy ones.
Ooh, risky.
And then there's, you know,
but this Lutefisk sign is like, it's the single most like non-provocative sign.
Yes.
Like it completely like drains everything. Like you said, like you don't want to fight in front of this thing because the hell.
Right, like do you want to be the guy who got in the fight in front of the Lutefisk sign? Like he had this sign about Lutefisk, and I had to defend that gross fish honor, and so I fought him. Like,
but like,
because it ruined the narrative. Like you said, it ruined the narrative because like they wanted it to be a bunch of like, oh, you're anti-American, you're out of state, you're paid protesters, it's all fake news. And then I show up with my obviously homemade sign. And they were like, oh, I don't know. I'm not excited about this anymore. Because it was like the whitest thing ever.
Lutefisk.
Right. Well, and it's good because it like it itself, like Lutefisk itself is very white. And so like it had this extra layer of like, whoa, man, you don't want to be like a white supremacist because then you're like a Lutefisk supremacist. But anyway, the beet one is my favorite though of those. Nice, have you sent those to the group? The beet ones like we grow so many sugar beets here.
I can't necessarily. I don't know how to post pictures directly to furry.fm.
I think we're gonna have to put it up on like Imgur or some file sharing sites and just send those links through.
If you could do that.
Anyway, so I will describe them for our listeners. So like the edgy ones one of them has like a flag, and it says, "This protester accepts payment in civil rights." Because
So
like
edgy.
there's this, I know, they're like, they're paid protesters. Well, yeah, you have to pay us in civil rights. Because like, who's going to come up to you and be like, civil rights are bad?
Huh.
Like voting, who should vote? That's bad.
That's like some Saturday morning cartoon villain shit right there.
Right.
So-
Same thing with the like, there's a Democratic, like an official party logo that's like a donkey kicking up into the air.
Yeah.
And I was like, I put and taken names under it
It's kicking
and made
ass
it
and
into
taking
a
names.
shirt. Right? And they're like, whoa, and they're like, can we put that? Like I was in the meeting and they're like, can we put that? Is that okay to put that on a shirt? And I'm like, it's not swearing. Yeah. It's true.
God.
Wow.
Why did
So,
the Democrats that you're talking to sound like a bunch of like old ladies? Like,
I'm not necessarily sure about that. They actually all just sound like a whole bunch of stoners.
Well,
yeah.
like, so the thing is, like, the Democratic Party of North Dakota is like the Democratic nonpartisan league, and like has this crazy history. Like their symbol is a goat.
oh, that's where the
trying,
NPL
and
comes
so
from.
yeah, and so like I'm trying to get them to like, have a like Undertale Goat Bro lookalike mascot. Like you gotta go cute, gotta have cute. Then it's a meme, and they're like, And so anyway, but yeah, like so I had this meeting with them and whatever, and then but like the beat one is like nothing beats equality, you listeners, and it says like and it has a heart-shaped beat. A sugar beet, by the way, is just like exactly what you would expect. It looks kind of stupid, and it's just like a beet that grows, and then it's relatively sweet, and so you can get sugar out of it. I don't know if you guys have mostly cane sugar there, or what your source is. Like, where does your sugar come from?
Yeah, sugarcane.
Yeah.
Yeah, KZN in the sugar country.
Yeah, all the sugar country. But like,
Yeah.
so one of the people here was actually talking about. I think he's actually from Germany.
Nice.
So he was saying that the police were protecting, demonstrations and things like that, and the AfD, or the Alternatives for Germany, is a party. And once an old lady, apparently a relatively old woman, was aggressive against the police and asked why the officers protected these people. The police officer then said, "Stop, go home, or I'll put you into jail." Well, she replied with, "Do so. It's not the first time I was in Auschwitz."
Whoa. See? Like, you don't want to mess with old ladies.
Yeah, like you said, they've ran out of fucks, and
yeah, they don't care. They will, like, if you mess with the wrong kind of old lady, they'll just take you down.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, like it's, but
no, carry on.
So yeah, but anyway, so the beat thing, and then it has rainbow, like that's a heart-shaped beat with a rainbow on it, and so it's like, who's gonna come up to you and be like, equality is bad? Because again, like this is like the least edgy. This is like some Captain Planet level,
yeah,
sanitized. Like no one is gonna become like, who can come, like even your conservative like uncle can't come up to you and be like, you darn hippie, wearing your equality is nice shirt.
Yeah. This is like the sit-in protest of like party T-shirts, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's like nothing is. Go ahead.
No. I was just You're saying
yeah. Well, it's just like it's completely non-confrontational,
Yeah.
and yet it's like subversive, and like each like part of the country has done it differently. Like like the furry fandom has been all like removing fascists from its group. Like, all those Nazi furries who have been in, parading around the fandom are not doing so hot. Like, they're getting blocked. Like, there's a whole block list to, like, that these guys have made that these like Antifa furries that have they distribute now, and it's one of those block together ones, so it like auto updates. And then I've been encouraging people to use it because I'm just like, go for it, like kick them out. Like, there are only like 200 of these guys out of this fandom of like hundreds of thousands of like, we don't, and like some of them aren't furries, like some of them were just neo-Nazis who were like trying to recruit furries because they were able to like recruit in other like nerdy spheres.
Yeah.
But furries are super, super gay, first of all. And so that was the first flaw in their plan. And second, furries are super ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And so the concept of a Nazi furry is inherently absurd.
Yes, it is.
Like, because like, who are like, oh yeah, we're marching in, we're gonna, I don't know, yiff aggressively at you. Like, what are we? Like, what are you? Oh no, they're scritching each other.
Asterisk yiffs
right.
aggressively.
Yeah, exactly. And so aggressive yiffing intensifies. And so anyway, like, and so I've been really proud of the fandom, because the fandom is like, if you watch what happens in the fandom, that's actually what's happening like in every aspect of my country right now, is that every single group that was like, well, so and so like kind of, has some fascist tendencies, but he's just a quirky guy, let's ignore it. Are now like, let's remove them from our group. And so like the furries, for example, are just like, oh yeah, well, we're respecting free speech, but no, you know what? If you wear like any kind of Nazi paraphernalia at the convention, we'll have you kicked out. People who are, go ahead.
It's that whole idea of like the paradox of tolerance kind of thing.
Yeah. Why don't you tell them about the paradox of tolerance?
Yeah, the paradox of tolerance is essentially the idea that if any group or society is completely tolerant of everything that goes on in their group, then they're eventually going to let in people who are not tolerant of of one specific aspect. And by tolerating the fact that these people are being intolerable, the group becomes toxic. So you have to sort of not tolerate this intolerance that the subsection is like putting out, and you have to sort of ostracize them. But then they can just claim that you're being intolerant towards their beliefs.
Right. When really, like, you have to change your perspective on it. You have to be like, okay, this group is about tolerance, and if someone comes, that'd be like if someone was like, I have this group about ice cream, and someone came in and was like, fuck ice cream. I don't know who would say that. And so, but they come in and they say that, and you'd be like, well, we love ice cream though. And they're like, well, but I hate it. But why don't I get to be here? I thought we were going to have an open ice cream dialogue here.
Yeah.
Like about, and you're like, you're not actually talking about the same thing I'm talking about. You're just, you're here because you hate this and want to destroy it. And so, yeah, it's nonsense. Like, it's gibberish if you think about it. Like, who, oh, you're being intolerant of my intolerance? Like,
yeah, I think that's cool.
Yeah, go away. Yeah. Right, no, that's cool. Like, because they're basically like preying upon, and this happens in other venues too. Like people, this happens even on a social level. Like with people, like you can have a toxic friend who's like preying on your better nature, who's like, well, like I'm sure we all have like someone in our, we've all met someone who is like awful, but whenever you're like, oh man, let's not invite so and so, they're just like, oh man, like, oh, they didn't invite me, like they're mean to me, like, oh no, we better invite him because he'll be mad if we don't.
You okay?
And it's that.
Yeah, no, it's
what happened.
Yeah, no, carry on.
You spill things?
I'll be fine. No,
Okay.
To drop my
A toxic friend happened to you just then? Came into your house?
I just dropped my cat.
Oh.
Oh.
Is that
Now
what
you're
that
the
thud
toxic
was?
friend.
Yeah, that was her thud.
Yeah, see,
Oh.
that's sort
Carry
of
on.
that's one of those things that really sort of irks me. It's that
Cat dropping?
the people are fine with saying everything that they want and claiming, oh yeah, First Amendment, all that shit, I get to say free speech, da da da. Conveniently forgetting
It's like the
whole
same argument with guns.
yeah, well, conveniently forgetting the whole idea of you are completely entitled to your free speech. You can say whatever the hell you want, but you're not protected from whatever repercussions there are. Like
Yeah.
like
Well,
you
and
could-
the
like,
oldest
you could
example is...
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you can
The
say,
oldest
like,
example is like yelling fire in a crowded theater and causing a stampede. You know, you can say it, but you'll get punished for it because your speech directly harmed someone.
Yeah, or you can say that whatever marriage equality, gay rights, all that
It's
kind
bad.
of stuff is bad, and you have the right to say that, and I have the right to think that you're the scum of the earth.
Yeah,
and
so
should that be in my house, I can tell you to get the fuck out. That is my right.
Yeah. Because that's accountability. That's like personal responsibility, which is like why it's kind of a toxic. It's been easy on the internet because like, oh well, I'm anonymous when I'm on the internet. I can say anything. Well, not really.
Yeah.
Because like you still have an account that we can ban.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you still have a whatever. Here, let me find the block list. If any of you guys are on
on
Twitter,
the Twitter,
on Telegram, now you made me type Telegram.
No, we didn't
There we
do
go.
anything.
Your free speech did.
how dare you?
Oh, really? Is that right?
There you go. So this is the Twitter feed that has the alt-furry, like alt-right Nazi fur block list. So if anyone on the is tired of listening to Nazi furs, or is like honestly like we're just kind of going for like a herd immunity at this point. Like if enough furries have like blocked these guys, they will be removed from the fandom by default because no one can listen to them, like no one can see them. And I understand people's concerns when they're like, well, isn't it unfair to have someone else do the blocking? Like who gets to say? I'm like, what if it's a mistake? Well, that's why it's like a block together app thing, because it removes people if they like petition and are found to have been on there by mistake, or if they've changed their tune or whatever. And it adds people if they make new dummy accounts. And so but yeah, like especially after like a bunch of Trump supporters like at that Nazi rally like ran people over, like after that terror attack, the tune has changed. Like suddenly everyone everywhere is just like, no, we're done. You don't get to parade around in Nazi uniforms. Because like it's funny too, because like some people tell me like, yeah man, like I have a fetish for uniforms. That's what this is about. I'm like, but you have a fetish for only that one. Like you don't have like, this is my Spanish Civil War recreation uniform. I can't get it up unless I'm wearing it. Like it's never that. It's never like, here's my red coat. Look how cool I am. Except Red Coat Cat. I guess.
Here's my Jennison getup.
But
Janissary getup.
yeah, like right, anything. Benny Gesserit. I don't know, but anyway, yeah, like it's never any other uniform, and so I kind of don't believe it. Like I'm like, if it's so.
Okay?
Anyway, are you dropping more cats?
No, not this. I don't know. I heard like a high pitched sort of squeal.
No. Let's hope not.
But anyway, if you find people who like belong on the block list, like if you find someone who's like, you can just notify that account and they'll review if they should be on there.
Oh,
Because
cool.
that's how it's been happening. Like dozens of different furries have turned in dozens of names. Like most of the time it's just like, hey, I was here. I saw this guy tweeting this, and then I looked at his feed, and he's like a jerk 24/7 about, and not just a jerk, but is like promoting like genocide and things, and I would like him to be on the blacklist. I say him. It's usually a dude, not always, but it is usually a dude. And so I apologize for my gender, everybody. Like, we can be dumbasses. It's society's fault, though. But anyway, so like, it's it's really pretty solid. Like, I've been using it for like, since it came out here, like, and it's been, it's like the Nazi furs aren't in the fandom, and if enough of us use it, they won't be. Huzzah. And it makes them really angry. Like, nothing, like, it has made them, like, same thing with, like, after the Virginia terror attacks, Discord deleted their chat, like, because a bunch of them were at the event, and we don't know to what degree they were involved in the attacks, but Nazi furs were there, and got caught on camera.
Nazi furs are just Nazis, not like Nazis on Discord?
Nope, Nazi furs.
Wow.
Okay. Nazi furs. And so Discord deleted their server.
Oh, nice.
And they were like, we can't have people planning terror attacks on our service.
No, that's a good policy. That's a good company policy.
I'm down. I'm down with that. And so, like, anyway, yeah, like, it's just one of those things where, once people, like, kind of have to pay attention, like, once people, like, pay attention to what's going on, they don't like it, and they will object to it. And it's only when people can be like, oh, no, we're just a bunch of crazy, kooky guys, just, like, making terrible jokes about other races all the time, rambunctious youths that we are. Right, aren't I a scamp?
Yeah, and that shit's not gonna fly.
Right. And so, anyway, like, the best part is, too, that, like, they like, I have been, like, on my feed, like, saying, hey, you can't be a Nazi and be in the furry fandom. That's stupid. Like, sorry, you have, guys use, everybody uses blacklist, but whatever. Like I've said, obviously anti-Nazi things, but because I'm a white dude, they haven't said anything to me. Like, I don't think they listen to this podcast because they probably are scared of all the black people who might also be listening. But, like, they have said like, oh, like, I've said, like, all these anti-Nazi things, and I've posted journals, and I, like, all that, and, like, apparently that's fine, that's all fine, but, like, when ladies do it, they attack them. Yeah. When, like, black people do it, they attack them. When, like, I'm like, what? Why is it not a problem that I'm saying it? Shouldn't you be more upset that I'm, like, betraying the cause?
Betraying the cause of straight white men everywhere. Nazism.
Right, clearly. Like, I don't know. It's just, and so, whatever. So anyway, but yeah, but that is like a microcosm of what is happening in the country. Is that these guys are like, these, Nazis, these, far-right guys are like, the alt-right are like saying like, yeah, we should do all these terrible things to, like, LGBT people and, like, Muslims and, like, women and, like, all this stuff. Like, we need to do all this. And then everybody else is like, that's crazy. You can't do that in the 21st century. We won't let you. And because the internet has happened, they can't do anything about it. Like, when you have the internet, it's pretty tough to be like, we're taking over, because everyone will just coordinate through all these apps we have and say, well, everyone show up, everyone call in, everyone go here with a sign. And that's how it goes. And so, because we will always outnumber fascists. Like, that's just how it works in human society. Like, there will never be mostly fascists. And so we just need to tell them to stop doing it. And they can't do anything about it. And so, and, like, they're blaming each other. Because, like, like like for the block list and stuff and whatever, and, like, doxing each other and stuff. And I'm like, you guys are really got some team spirit here. I'm sure people are just lining up to join now. But, like, yeah, like, because they're like, were making death threats against people like that. The Dio Toss Devil on Twitter, like they were like making death threats and stuff against her, like like the police had to get involved, like it was a real deal. And I'm like, why do you guys think you're the good guys? It's like that one like, are we the baddies?
Yeah,
I think we're the baddies.
I love that.
We have skulls on our hats. I know. And so anyway, but that's what the state of my country is. Like, if you just I know it's hard to see like a full picture, but just look at what's happening with the furries, and you will know the furries are the real barometer
the litmus test
of democracy. Yeah, like that is what's happening. Like, as go the furries, so goes the world.
Except much gayer.
Well,
except much gayer, but still. Anyway, so do you have other questions about like political stuff? Or
well, I mean, maybe less about political stuff, more about your own work for a bit, hey? So, like, what else have you been sort of like, aside from the random things that you've been doing?
Well, funny you should ask. I wrote another episode of Culturally Effed.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
This one's about the furries of Magic the Gathering. So as soon as everyone's done listening to this podcast, they can all go and listen to that one.
I actually think I saw the update for that.
And because my previous one was on Star Fox, as you guys might recall. I don't think had I had the Star Fox one out when I was on here last.
You mentioned writing for it, and then it got released, I think.
Let me get the link for that, and we can have them both.
Yes.
How exciting.
Also, just a quick plug to anyone who hasn't yet subscribed to the wonderful channel that is Culturally Effed, run by our good friend RK Mark and Underbite Dragon. It tackles all kinds of furry-related jazz, including stuff like this, the Nazi furry argument, origins of the fandom, origins of fursuiting, hell, like anything, really.
Why Star Fox is so attractive.
That, yeah. One thing I don't,
yeah.
I'll take that question offline because it's not PG.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. The last thing we want is not PG.
The episodes are all PG, though.
Yeah, no. Except for one or two of them. But they're marked After Dark.
They're marked.
Yeah,
right.
After Dark.
But all the ones I have written are PG, which is surprising for me.
Yeah, for your content.
But but anyway, yeah, I wrote a Star Fox episode for them, and I wrote a Magic the Gathering lore episode for them because I noticed that even though YouTube has a bunch of like lore, let me tell you the lore of this, it's never really like very furry related. Like they never. Like, the Magic ones are always just like, let me tell you about the people who are on the box.
Let me tell you about that fucking poster boy Jace. Fuck Jace.
Oh, God. Can we please hear more about Jace?
Jesus,
I find Jace... I hardly ever get to hear about Jace.
Yeah,
and for the furries... Not Jace the furry artist, that's okay.
No,
Jace... You can hear more about...
Jace the blue planeswalker.
Right.
And that fucking... honor student, fucking class captain Gideon. Fuck him.
Right. Meanwhile, the one that the furries truly would like to, get to know better is Ajani.
Obviously.
And the... Here, I will...
Yeah.
That's right. You guys can't post... You guys can't post...
links
can't
anymore.
Post... Yeah, let me see. You can't post links at all?
I can post the link here. Copy link.
Aww. I will find we have a section of the episode on Ajani, and I am trying to find the custom animation we did for it.
Ajani and the other felines. Brimaz. Those people.
Here you go. Here's how furries feel about Ajani in one GIF.
Oh, I need to see this. He just has such a good design. Like,
Right. Well, we talk about how he's like very furry. He has like a scar over one eye, and he's like totally ripped. Like he's totally buff. Like he has abs, even though he has fur.
Yeah.
And he has like a non-standard coat color, and he has little marky dealies. Like he's totally a furry. Someone at Hasbro, someone at Wizards of the Coast, is a freaking furry, and was like, "I'm gonna make my fursona a planeswalker," and everyone is gonna be like, "Oh man, he's the team dad. I like him. I'm gonna mod him into the like dating dad game."
Oh please, dude! Seriously, if they do Dream Daddy and just like mod everyone out into furries, I will be so happy. I would be so happy.
Did you post the link for everyone so they can see?
Yeah, it's there. It's
the emotions. So anyway, but yeah, so like Ajani is like how Hasbro, how Wizards markets Magic to furries.
Yep.
Hasbro owns Wizards of the Coast, which is why we get like fortunately and unfortunately, because Wizards of the Coast is like relatively autonomous. Like the people I have talked to who work at Hasbro are like, it's a black box. We don't know anything that goes on at Wizards of the Coast. Like no one talks to us, no one tells us anything, and we don't have any input. And so they're like, we just get to find out about it when they want some shirts. Or like a plush. If someone, they're like, oh, we wanted a Johnny plush. Okay. And so, but yeah, like Hasbro's owning both My Little Pony and D&D / Magic has resulted in interesting things like, they had a Loyal Pegasus card.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy!
And they were like, right after My Little Pony became popular, like, yeah, HasCon had like a D&D Magic crossover thing. Like, it's kind of fun.
Well,
but
yeah, and their new set already has there's another unset coming out, right? Unstable. And the first card,
that's what I heard.
Yeah, and the first card that's being released for that is called the Sword of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, they gave it out at HasCon. I think it was one of the things that if you like went to HasCon, you could get was that as a promo card.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, like, I'm actually like, we make fun of Hasbro because they're a giant corporation, but like, you have to understand that like. Look at something like Hasbro, where like My Little Pony has like, like lesbian ponies in it, like in committed relationship lesbian ponies, like Lyra and Bonbon, where like they spend the whole time winking at the camera, going, "We're very good friends," out loud. It's fun to do it's always fun to do things with your very best friend and like looking seductively at each other. And so like, and then like D&D has had like gay characters in their published materials for like 15 years. Magic has had trans characters for like 5 or something. And like, it's that is both like encouraging on like a personal level, like someone had to have proposed that, but it's also like encouraging on a social level because that is indicative of how the world has moved on. Like the world has moved on so much that now we can have like like that one scene in Frozen where like with like the apparently gay guy who runs the store who has a spa because it's in Sweden, right? And so like it's interesting to me that that's how much the world has moved on, even in like my lifetime, where like now suddenly you could just have gay characters, and it's not even like they're gay in like a weird, gross way. Yeah, like it's not like they're gay and they're like.
Yeah, it's just they're people. No one's fucking the same sex on screen. They're just people in their day-to-day lives. Holy shit! Guess
Right,
what?
and
We're not
it's not
always
like, and they're
balls
not
deep in someone
presented
else.
as like, right, and they're not presented as like they're like comical, like, oh, let's laugh at them.
Yeah,
it's just like a thing, like, oh, like, there you go, like, Dumbledore's
for the coughing, it's not me.
Like, but like same deal with like that Cons of Trakir, that like dragon set that came out a couple of years back, like that has one of the main characters in it is trans, and they just like never made a thing about it. Like they just never made a huge deal about it. But
that one guy featured on the black card, on like one of the rare cards for. Let me see. I have the website open right here. Keep going with the conversation. Sorry, I was just curious who that was now.
Keep going. Yeah.
But yeah, like, so anyway, like, that's I think that's really cool. I think that's, if you guys ever, like, get worried about, like, the state of the world and stuff, like, just look at how much of this stuff, like how like progress marches on because we keep pushing forward on it, even though everybody's like, even all these people are like, oh well, we're gonna take away gay marriage. Like, how would you do that? Like, you're gonna nullify all the, in my country, like, you're gonna nullify all the marriages that happened. Like, and even if you did, like, the rest of the world's getting it, like, one country at a time. It's, what are you gonna do? And so, like, what was it? Like, has Wizard of the Coast has, like, these guys are gay. Like, these guys are giant statues of two gay guys who are, like, a couple.
Oh, yeah, those two. The ones in the commander deck.
Yeah. Like, they were in...
But, I mean...
Yeah.
Theros.
Like, even, I know that I'm sort of semi-changing tack here, but I mean, like, even in League of Legends, you'll find that there are a lot of people, granted, like, a lot of weeaboos doing it, but I mean, like, they tend to ship their favorite, like, characters together. Like, the bot lane, for instance, if you got, what's it? Ezreal is one of them, and then Taric is the other one. Like, Taric's this big, massively well-built man, but is... pretty much like some of his poses are just literally sort of posing for cameras and everything like that. And then Israel is this tiny twink in essence, and people have been shipping them like for years. And I don't necessarily understand. Like, I mean, on the one hand, I mean, you get like anime where this kind of stuff almost seems to be relatively well normalized. Girls love it from like the Western like side. What is it?
And
yaoi?
in Japan. Japanese girls also love yaoi.
Yeah. But like again, like if we want to talk about out of the two countries, the West being as uptight as many people can be, versus the East, like the girls here like it, for instance, and that's kind of, I don't know, like, don't sort of put up a double standard like that.
Yeah, And so, like, I just think it's... what is this one you put in there? Oh, it's those dudes! It's the dudes! Anyway, look at them. Standing there all buff and in love. Anyway, but yeah, like, it's nice. It's nice. Like, it's cool that that's happening. And, like, it is... interesting to me that, like, it is so normalized now. Like, it's like if you ship characters or whatever, like, that's, if you're like our age or younger, like, that's just a thing, and it's fine to be like, yeah, so and so and so and so. It doesn't matter if they're gay. And, like, a small part of that is from the furry fandom existing, like, to just normalize, like, if it's, like I've said previous time I was on your show, like, you can't be upset that someone is gay if you already accept that they're a purple fox.
Yeah. Like, that is the least weird thing that is going on in their life right now.
Right, like I'm into dudes. Oh, I don't know about that. But I'm also a purple fox. Well, that's okay. Like I believe that, but that's crazy that you would be into dudes. That's not real. Like of course like, and so in its silly way, that's what part of furry's function is in society. Like we tend to think of furry as like divorced from the real world. And it is, it's a good escape, but like it does have like positive influences for the people in the fandom. And so, like, anyway, so I wrote the magic episode about furries, so that, because like basically like when I introduce furries to the game, that's what they want to know about, and I was just like finding myself like going over the same points over and over, and so I was like, well, I will just take these notes and make it into an episode and just say like, here's Miri. Everyone's furry for Miri.
Yes, indeed.
Indeed. I worked that one into the episode. And so anyway, like for those who don't play Magic, like Miri is like a leopard, as I recall. She's like one of the most recognizable characters in like all of the game, and she's been in the game for like 20 years. And going by fan art, I think she's one most recognizable character. Although like Ink Eyes is weirdly popular, and Ink Eyes never did anything.
Ink Eyes, like, and 8.5 Tails as well.
Oh, 8.5. See, like, I don't like the design of the Kitsune in Magic because I'm a furry snob, and I want them to be fancier. Like, I recognize that it's okay, they're kind of fox-like and they're kind of mysterious, but then like, I need them to have like a muzzle and stuff. I need I need you guys. You're gonna have to work a little harder to get like fuzzy ears going on here. Like the tails are good, but same with the moonfolk. I'm like, what the heck? This is a cost. What is this cosplay that you've done?
Shame, man. Don't diss too much.
Because they just moonfolk. The moonfolk. Okay, so my wife has a moonfolk deck and she loves them. So when she hears this, she'll be upset. But like I like the moonfolk. They're good. But they're supposed to reflect that like bunny in the moon thing that different cultures have, but they don't look like bunnies. And I think that they were worried that they wouldn't get taken seriously if they look like bunnies, so they just have bunny ears, and so they're kind of like that. Not Freya, Fran from Final Fantasy has bunny ears.
Never played Final Fantasy,
and so Anyway. And so, but then they recently came out with this new Miri card in the same set that other one, or like one of the commander sets.
Yeah, Miri, Weatherlight Duelist, the one I just posted there.
Right. Like, Miri is like, and so like, Miri is basically the hero. Like, you know how like those stories where like the hero is not actually like the one doing all the work? That's pretty much how the Weatherlight Saga went. Like, I'm just very much like, much like people are like, you guys need to give more credit to R2-D2. Without him, they would have failed.
Yep.
Like, I am that way about Miri. I'm like, you guys need to like give more credit to Miri because, like, come on, she put with a lot of nonsense.
I'm
like,
sick.
First of all, she had a crush on the main human character, even though it was weird, like furries and humans.
Yeah.
And then like she gets like at one point, what was it? They bring that Krovax guy, like, and he turns into a vampire, and she's like, this is a terrible idea, we shouldn't have him on board. And they're like, no, it'll be really good for the plot. And the then like they end up fighting to the, like, they fight like almost to the death, and then for her to protect him from like his guardian angel, because he lives in like a symphonic death metal music video, Krovax. So Like, it's always like fucking, oh, I have to fight my evil angel, and my life is darkness. And so, like, then he, like, betrays the crew after that, and then, like, fights her, and because she's weakened, he, like, ends up killing her. And then, like, she gets, like, brought back to life as, like, in, like, the Time Spiral one, where, like, Krovax got to be a good guy, and she got to be a bad guy. But she didn't even get to be, like, a bad guy of anything cool. Yeah, watch the episode. Krovax gets to be like a good guy, and everyone's like, hooray, Krovax. I'm like, screw you. Krovax, you just angst around the whole time. And so, anyway, so now, 20 years after her first appearance, we get a new Miri, and she's wearing all these clothes. I talked to the artist who drew the picture, and I'm like, whoa, this is like the most clothes I have seen on Miri. And he's like, I didn't want her to get cold.
Well, she is on
She's
a ship,
up there
so...
It's on a ship flying through the sky. It would be cold. I don't want her to get cold. And so, anyway, I thought that was cool. And then, let's see. And then the Star Fox one, like, same deal. Like, I found it really fascinating how... I think we talked about this last time a little bit. Like, I found it really fascinating how, like, the things we think about as being canon in Star Fox, like, that we take for granted in furry... Like, oh, I don't know, that, like, they have robot legs and stuff.
Yeah.
Or that, like, Crystal has giant boobs. Like, aren't true. Like, those don't that isn't happening in the games.
It's just, like, fully shared headcanon.
Right. We have this, like, collective consciousness in furry where we're just like, of course that's how it is. And, like, and no one, like, declared this at any point. It just kind of organically happened. Like, oh, yeah. Like... Of course, you know, like, wolf and fox would get together because wolves and foxes belong together. Like, yeah, it's a little silly, but. And then, let's see. Other than that, I am working on the Lackadaisy card game that is compatible with the Nordgard card game.
Yeah.
And then, let's see that. The Nordgard, it's kind of a, like, since none of you are probably going to go to MFF, I'm not going to disappoint anyone here. But we're trying to figure out if, like, the card game and or the video game are going to come out in time for MFF.
Okay.
Video game?
What? Yeah, so there's I partnered with a studio called Tinderbox Studios, and they are making a Nordgard mobile and computer game. And they're going to, put it on Steam and stuff. And so I have been dredging up my very ancient, coding knowledge and stuff for this project. I have been like, oh man, how would I structure this? What's happening? I'm just a writer now. I don't know any of these things anymore. But yeah, like, and then I am putting the finishing touches on Windfall 2, which is much like 6S2, a novelized anthology. So it's like all the short stories that are online, plus additional ones. And then this one's getting a novella. So like a novella is just how writers talk about books that are shorter than 40,000 words. So like, The First Six is Wild is a novella. The Great Gatsby is a novella. Like, things that are most like young adult fiction. If it's like a centimeter thick, that book, that's a novella.
Okay.
And so it has a novella in it, in addition to all the other short stories. And it's the novella is called Otter Body Experience. And I think I have some art from that to show you guys. I always love spoiling things on your podcast, because then we can track how long it takes to come back to North America. Like, I love it when we like show things here, and then I see if the image ever actually pops up.
It's kind of like ship in the bottle kind of thing. Message in a bottle.
Man. Right. Although E621 is a pretty small ocean.
Yeah. Fair point.
But yeah, like, Let's see here. Yeah, it's fun to do it that way because like I'm always like that way you guys get to hear something first for once. Yeah. Let's see. Looking through all of the illustrations, and did I show you guys the bat last time?
The bat?
Bat character. The bat character. In
Sixes.
In Windfall 2.
Oh.
Did I not show you that?
I don't think you did. There's a bat in Sixes as well, right?
No, there's a bat in Sixes. This is a different bat.
Right.
This is a brown bat instead of a fruit bat. And second here. Wait, I wonder if Slate posted this. For Affinity, go into Slate's page. Slate illustrates Windfall. You guys should all go follow him. And there we go. I'm learning. I'm giving you guys links instead of images.
Wee.
Whoop.
And we taught.
Also, I've stopped dropping shit.
No, this time around I almost...
There's so much gravity.
Actually,
that's why his cat didn't land on his feet.
I almost actually threw my coffee off the counter.
So this is a bat.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is one of the new characters for the new book. She. And like we wanted like a dorky female character.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're like hangs out with Carl, like the game store guy. Like they're like pals, like is addicted to like sour gummy worms. Like his bats are insectivores.
Hey,
nice.
Like that.
That's my guy. Person. I like that. I like sour gummy worms.
And so, like, let's see. What was I actually on the hunt for? But yeah, while I'm looking for this, we can continue talking so you guys don't just hear me like as I look for stuff. I'll just scat along through it. But yeah, anyway, so that's in the pipeline. That's going to come out on ebook as well, so you guys will be able to get it cheaply.
Soonish.
That's probably going to come out in the next few months. The game, of course, will also be available online. And then after the Nordgard game comes out in digital form, the Lackadaisy game will come out in digital form.
And this is an adaptation of the card game, not like something standalone with the.
Correct. It's the card game.
Okay, cool.
And so it is a version of the card game you can run on your phone or your computer. I mean, it's going to be on Steam too. So, let me see what kind of thing I can find you for that in the Lackadaisy card game folder.
So, just as we are talking about this, we were recently actually approached by a group called Glue Studios, Glue Marketing. Which seems to be a group from, I don't know, Indonesia, actually.
Okay.
And they created a series, not called Meow, called Rimba Racer. It's got 13 episodes. The first series is out, and the second series, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is debuting next year.
Ooh. But
it's... And, I mean, like, I watched, like, the first episode sort of halfway.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I think the only sort of criticism that I have for it is that the voice acting pretty much sort of shows its origins, in essence, like, where it comes from. Where some things are a little bit out of tack, I think. But it actually looks to be it looks fun, at any rate. Like, so yeah, and they actually approached us recently asking whether we'd be able to show this during our next convention.
Okay.
Yeah.
I suppose we can.
But yeah, that's pretty much how it is. But I mean, like, that's actually something interesting just from our side, like what's going on, with respect to the convention and everything like that. But and maybe what we can do is that we'll send it through to your side, Tempo, randomly giving you and see how you feel about like the progressions and everything like that. Maybe
okay.
I technically like one of the things that I kind of want to actually do is, I mean, like these guys are a studio and like everything like that. And I was actually thinking, we could offer our assistance wherever possible. Because I don't know, like I like it. Like the first picture here is. Let me just see if I can open with. No, can I do something with you? Can I add you to something?
What are you doing?
I want to download it, but I can't download it. Ah, there it is. Okay, I'll show it in my folder, and then don't download it again because I'm an impatient asshole. But yeah, so like beyond all that, like Rimba Racer is actually pretty interesting. So there's that picture.
What's the premise? Where?
In essence, pretty much like if you remember Wacky Races.
No.
You don't remember Wacky Races? What?
Like that old ass Hanna-Barbera cartoon, Dick Dastardly, Muttley.
Oh, okay. Yes.
But this is obviously more. I don't know. It's kind of geared along the same kind of storylines, sort of Cars-esque, but it's sort of an upstart racer kind of thing. But all their cars have different abilities that they can do, in essence.
And it's full of furries.
And it's full of furries.
That's the main draw.
That is the main draw, yeah.
And he's Rimba so that he's not Simba or Kimba.
In essence. Actually, Rimba means something in Indonesian, I think. You just see here. Let me see.
Rimba?
Rimba is an action-packed animation series revolving around Tag, a talented rookie racer and newcomer to the prestigious Rimba Grand Prix. Yeah. No, Rimba means jungle, or the animal kingdom in the Malay language.
Okay.
Nice.
Good to know.
This also needs a video game.
It really does. It looks.
Does it not have a mobile game yet?
Yeah.
Does it not have a mobile game?
More up. Apparently more up. Yes?
No.
What? Okay. Sorry. Bench was just indicating that I scroll up for some reason. So there's like it started out as a comic, weirdly enough. Like there's a prologue comic, like 33 pages and everything like that. And I'm actually, if we were wondering that, like we want to have a look at some of these things and maybe actually get that out.
There is more. A game.
I actually can. What?
It's called Rimba Racer Rush.
Rimba Racer Rush. Huh. Yeah. But so yeah. Anyway, sorry for detracting like that, but do carry on.
No, that's I will totally watch that. You had me at furries, like non-horrible looking furries, like those look really good. So I will totally watch it. I actually watched.
They have a Daily Motion for this as well for anybody who wants to have a look at it beforehand. Since I'm weirdly doing plugging while we're at this, just posted that link to the Furry.fm live chat, and I'm gonna post it to you guys here.
Don't worry, you still haven't plugged nearly as much as I have on your podcast.
You
know what show I have been watching is My Hero Academia.
I've heard about that.
Which has some furry characters in it.
Is it?
Who are the best characters.
What is it about? Oh, it's anime.
Okay.
Standing back.
It's anime. And so what is it? It is the premise is there are superheroes and 80% of people in the world are superheroes.
Oh right, I remember. Yes, I do remember.
And so there's to be a registered superhero to like actually do things, like actually save the day, you have to like go to special schools and whatever. And so like the people who are most proficient at like saving people or whatever go to these schools. And so like the main character is fine. Like he seems like an all right kid once he stops crying, and he spends the first like 4 or 5 episodes crying and yelling and crying and yelling. So it's one of those like. It's an anime. I don't know what it is about like what Japanese like media executives think teenage boys would really like in Japan, but there's a lot of crying, and so. But anyway, once he gets to the school, it's actually really interesting, and like the furry characters are my favorites, obviously, because there's a guy with a bird head who can shoot a shadow. Remember that game? What was that video game where you were like fighting the underworld, like mafia underworld, and you had shadow guys you could shoot out and they'd attack people.
Damn! It was some sort of semi-generic name. The Darkness.
Right, The Darkness. Yeah, he basically has that, but it's shy and a bird. Like, right, and so it's like, aw, like you have a shadow demon that you fire out of your body. But it's kind of, oh. I'm like, oh, and then he has like the personality of like a samurai, and so there's like this. That's his inner softy, like that is. He's sensitive on the inside. He probably writes poems, and so he's a sensitive man. And then I like him. He's excellent. And then there's also this frog lady, who, like, is. She has the power. Her powers are because like that guy can like destroy stuff with like and fight you with his shadow thing. It's basically the darkness, but she like has frog powers. And normally I'm not super into frog furries, but it's really funny because like the whole setup is like it is still very much a high school, and so like everyone's like awkward about their bodies. So it's awkward about like instead of how tall I am, I'm awkward about I'm awkward about the fact that like I have a giant frog tongue that can pick people up. And so yeah, it's fun. I enjoy it a lot. Like I mostly watch it for those two. Like the main character is fine. He like is very much one of those like shonen anime hero guys, and then his love interest is fine. His rival at the school is ridiculous because he gets angry about nothing. Like the main kid's name is Deku, and so this guy who has the power of explosions is angry all the time that Deku does anything like modestly competently or is involved in any way because he's his rival. And I'm like, I am not. And then they had like a sports fair and culture fest. Like, oh man, we have to do better in the culture fest to show how cool to show that, we're willing to work hard. I'm like, I am not Japanese enough to be motivated by this. Like, we're gonna have a sports fair. Everyone do your best at the sports festival. And everyone's like, blowing themselves up trying to win at like various sports at the sports festival. And I'm like, man, and like they're like everyone's like having all these emotions, and I'm like, I have no cultural context for this. Like, I know literally what's happening, but I was never that invested in anything that went on at my school.
Yeah, this
that I would
reeks way too much of nationalism.
This show, it's very pan.
No,
it's very pan global.
Yeah, but I mean, like that whole sort of national pride kind of like thing. That's very Eastern, very.
Like do your best, like your fighting spirit. You have to have like combate.
Yeah, that's
right. Kitsukatsu. Wait, that's different. That's how you say Kit Kat in Japanese. But like it's like related. It sounds it's like a pun. Like it sounds like it sounds like victory or something, and so people are like, here, have a victory. Oh, I got you a Kit Kat. That's why Kit Kats have 100 flavors in Japan. Is because they, oh, well, I got you a strawberry victory. What?
Yeah, I remember that.
So anyway, but yeah, been watching that. I watched, what is it, Secret Cases of the Spy Dogs the other day, which is like someone worked way too hard on that show. Because, so Secret History, or Secret Cases of the Spy Dogs is about like, the Secret Files of the Spy Dogs, that's what it is. is premised upon the notion that like every dog everywhere is part of a secret society keeping the world safe, and the humans must never know.
Ah, okay.
But it's full of like, it's got Adam West in it, like Batman. It's got like intricate plot lines. Like I was like gripped by like emotions in the plot lines, and then it looks like this because it's drawn by the guy who made that. You know the bunny that says rude things on T-shirts.
Oh right.
That it's Happy Bunny, and it says like "you suck" and that's sad or something on it.
Oh yeah.
Like he's the guy who made this.
Interesting.
You know, like Dear Dumb Diary, like same guy, and I'm like, oh okay, so it looks like a cartoon within. Like a cartoon on television on The Simpsons is what it looks like. But yeah, it is strangely compelling. I've also been watching Sherlock Hound lately. You guys ever watch that? What?
Rings a bell.
You don't know about Sherlock Hound?
Yet.
To YouTube.
For me, I finally got into the glory that is BoJack Horseman.
Oh god.
Oh yes.
Fucking love that show now. Like I binged all 4 seasons in a week. I was like, yes.
Hey.
This is awesome.
Hey, why the long face? I have clinical depression.
I love that show. It's so bad. Oh,
so
I've seen this, yeah.
So this is Sherlock Hound, and you guys should all watch it because it's made by like some Studio Ghibli people.
Wait, I have seen this.
Hayao Miyazaki, directed by Hayao.
And it's kind of like in that Lupin the Third, like crazy, over the top anime, but it's also like, you know, like it's very furry and everyone's a dog. And yeah, like it's super fun. It's not super challenging. Like you can be one of those things that you watch it like, you know, like you know, it's like 1 a.m. I don't want to go to bed yet, but I don't want to get like too into anything. Sherlock Hound is for that time.
Yeah.
And apparently that's not long. Go ahead.
No, for us that's been Mythbusters. That's our like hangover Saturday stuff. Just rewatch old Mythbusters.
Well, and I have recently come to the conclusion that when I am rewatching something, I should watch something new that I've been meaning to.
Yeah.
And so that's how I've ended up watching all these new things. Is I'm like, I could go back and rewatch something, or I could watch, you know, Sherlock Hound as I have intended to for years.
Yeah,
no, it's fun. My canon for Sherlock Hound, though, my headcanon, is that everyone actually has a tail, and it's rude to have it poking out of your clothes because it's like Victorian England. And so, because we never see anyone's butt, so we never know. And I talked to Husketeer about this, and she's on board. She's like, because she's like obsessed with this one and like D'Artagnan and the Three Musketeers, and that's why she's named Husketeer.
We what's his name? We had D'Artagnan here, but dubbed over in Afrikaans. So yeah, it was called Brackenjan, and so we did get that show, but just translated into Afrikaans. So I have some frame of reference for that show, at least.
Right, and like it's funny because people don't like. I'll talk to them about like the three, like D'Artagnan and the Three Musketeers, and they will be. They'll be like, I've never watched any anime, and then I'll talk to them about that. I'm like, oh yeah, I watched that.
That is.
And I'm like, that's an anime.
Yeah, and we had Heidi,
but because it was like dubbed and it was so early.
Yeah, we had that. We had Heidi. We had what was the other one? Moomin. We had.
What
was the other one? David the Gnome.
Yeah.
Man, I watched the hell out of David the Gnome when I was a kid.
The Afrikaans version was actually the funniest part.
Davy de Kabouter.
Really?
Davy de Kabouter, yeah. Jeez. Davy.
It was sad though.
It was actually pretty sad. Yeah, we actually, they translated all of the things to Afrikaans when they came out this way.
Quite a few things, yeah.
Yeah.
Sharky
back
and
in
George.
back in those days. Sharky and George, oh Lord, no.
Well, actually, George had
Dreadnought
that into
mentions...
Xhosa as well.
Yeah. Dreadnought mentions that when he gets drunk enough, he watches Bob Ross.
Oh, I love Bob Ross.
There's a Bob Ross joke at the end of that Magic the Gathering Culturally F video.
Huh.
Nice.
Last I checked, like I didn't see. I'm pretty sure that's the one. That's the out there. They have a fursuiter acting like Bob Ross.
I still love Samurai Pizza Cats.
Samurai Pizza Cats, yeah.
I never saw that one.
You never saw... Dude, I was in America when it was like on Cartoon Network, I think. Samurai Pizza Cats used to be on, like, it was one of the morning shows on Saturdays. And if you listen very, very closely to the lyrics for that song, like, they actually mention that nobody could find the source files for the original script. So what they actually did is that they went into the entirety of that series, just making shit up.
What?
Yeah, like literally, they watched everything and they translated nothing, and just rewrote the script completely to what they saw on the show itself. And they actually, what is it? Let me see. I'll find the lyrics quickly. Samurai Pizza Cats. Oh yeah.
I remember you mentioning this to me. I was like, "Wow, that takes some guts."
And so they pulled the Power Rangers where they just say whatever the hell over the top.
Yep.
Because that's what happened to Power Rangers here.
Yep.
Yeah, we got that version as well. The High School Angel Valley, whatever the hell.
As soon as someone finds a script, we might begin the show. Is literally one of the lines.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So you guys have seen The Land Before Time, right?
Yep. Long time ago. Made me cry.
So when I was growing up, The Land Before Time was huge. And so everybody wanted a piece of the action, which resulted in shows like Dink the Little Dinosaur.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think I sent you the other day. It's basically like, what if Land Before Time was too stressful for you in its normal state?
Mm-hmm.
Which it was.
Down a bit.
And it needed to be dialed down a lot. And so Dink teaches you important lessons like first of all, no one in the show really is that objectionable at all. Like, you know how like Sarah in The Land Before Time was like stubborn and arrogant? The Sarah analog in this show is just fine. Like she's just nice. Oh, okay. And like Littlefoot like, you know, would continue, you know, like he was like a little bit like reckless. Nah, like they just kind of dialed that down. And so like Dink teaches you important lessons like it snows sometimes, but don't flip out. And water goes downhill. And like we all need water though. Yeah, like whoa. Like dinosaurs eat leaves was an episode, or most episodes. They teach you that. And so like I recommend you guys all watch it. Because it is ridiculous. Okay. Don't confuse it with Denver the Dinosaur. That's different. Yeah, that's another clone. Did you guys get Denver the Dinosaur?
So big on like, just like if something big happens, it's just like it's all immediately copy all this shit. Like, yeah, Denver the Dinosaur. Fuck, dinosaurs are big. I mean, how many knockoffs were there of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and stuff like that?
Oh yeah. Like let's see, there was Street Sharks.
Oh yeah, Street Sharks.
There was
Extreme Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. Man, like, and the funny thing is, like, Ninja Turtles, like, was itself a joke. Like, it was itself, like, making fun of the idea of stuff like this, and then it became the paragon of that.
Yeah.
Like, even stuff, you know, and, like, yeah, it's great. Like, that's why everyone was, like, a cool, hip, like, surfer dude. Like, everyone was from California forever.
Yeah.
Once Ninja Turtles came out. So that's why Sonic is like, hey, man, I'm cool. I'm a cool guy. But not
Gotta
too
go
cool.
fast.
Cool within the bounds of what the executive board thought was okay. Like, cool enough. Like, it's kind of like, Sonic always reminds me of, like, you know, NSYNC and Backstreet Boys a little bit. I know that the furries might get mad. It's okay. I am besmirching Sonic's good name. But, like, Sonic always reminds me of that a little bit because he's just edgy enough that kids are like, what?
Mm-hmm.
He
more.
disrespects authority. But not more than that. So parents are still like, well, that's fine. Like, you know, it's not like Sonic's like seize the means of production, children. You know, it's not like Sonic's going in there and saying, like, you know, like, for the few to be rich, the many must be poor. Kids, got to go fast, like capitalism. And, you know, it's not like he's like saying like anything bad subversive. He's just like, man, I love chili dogs.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like he's eating broccoli.
He's
whoa.
Yeah, he's still the good guy, but he's like a little bit salty about it.
Right, just a little bit. And, like, it's funny because, like, it's just like a special, like, kind of like approved outlet for that. Like, oh, well, I'm a kid. I want to rebel a little bit. Oh, okay, this is a safe way for me to do that. My parents approve it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always thought that was great. Like, because NSYNC is the same way. Like, and Backstreet Boys and all those boy bands that came out, like, they always have like a bad boy.
Yeah.
But he's bad. He's like, they don't really go into like how he's bad.
Yeah.
He's just like surly occasionally. Like, oh man, I don't know about that, yo.
Yeah. It's like this super Disney version of like what bad actually is.
Right, right. And so I think it's funny that, like, because there's like, what was it? How did boy bands work? It was like you had like the baby of the group, like the one who was like slightly younger.
Mm-hmm.
You had like the bad boy.
What
were the other?
Just sort of go back to what the Spice Girls started with. Those sort of 5 archetypes. Like the young,
there's like
young one, the sporty one, the pissed off one. Yeah.
Angry Spice.
Scary. And the
token
ginger.
And then what did they be? Token ginger.
So I learned a thing about the Spice Girls yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is topical.
Yes. So KFC, their whole marketing thing is they have 11 herbs and spices.
I heard this yesterday. Go. Tell.
Yeah. So the KFC Twitter account only follows the 5 Spice Girls and like 6 guys named Herb.
11 herbs and spices.
Why?
I love
that was the best.
That is spot on.
Right, and it's just random dudes named Herb. It's not even like famous people named Herb. It's just like some guy who's like a reporter in Massachusetts, like some Green Bay Packers linebacker guy, like just like some guys, like not even like super famous, like one's like a certified trainer, like one's like a personal trainer,
just
like
randos.
Just like randos named Herb, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then all the Spice Girls, and I'm like, damn, that's so funny.
That is funny.
Do you guys remember? Oh God! Wait.
Okay. What was I supposed to remember?
What did you send me? What is this? It's all in.
No, that's terrible. It's all in weird. Do you remember when the Ewoks had their own animated series?
I'm trying not to.
I do not. Thank goodness.
Just want to try to find out how to.
It's already 10 p.m.
Yes, it's already 10 p.m.
Crap.
There we go. This is when the Ewoks had their own. I'm just posting it there, and then I'm just going to post it to here.
So this, the Ewoks had their own animated cartoon. You say
animated series. You can actually go.
What's even the droids had their own animated series.
This is a multi-billion-dollar franchise, people. Let's just put this into context.
Yeah, but I mean, I never actually saw this, and I swear to goodness they all had the same actors as Gummy Bears. Because I swear it's the same animator.
Man, I watched the Gummy Bears when I was a kid. That was a great show.
Gummy Bears.
Who am I kidding? Bouncing here and there. What's that in Afrikaans? Did they translate that one too?
They did not know. Disney stuff was not translated.
No.
Oh. But that's why you guys know all the Disney jokes when I talk to you.
Yeah.
They're like, remember who you are. And you guys be like, I remember that.
Yeah, we did have a lot of Disney shows. Like, there was this one, like, slot on Sundays on SABC2 where they'd show, like, an hour's worth of... it was just 2 shows that kept rotating out from the Disney catalog. Like, there was the Timon and Pumbaa show and Tailspin, and then eventually
Tailspin.
Other stuff just rotated into that slot.
Uh-huh.
Tailspin.
Like, I don't know. Yeah?
No, I'm just... It was good. To sum it up in like 2 words, it's good.
No, I don't know. Like again, that's probably one of the reasons why I remember something like, well, all of the things that we used to watch. I don't know. Like we always got all the knockoffs all the way from back in like the 1980s.
Yeah.
All of this stuff, like including where there was a link that was sent by Dreadnought about the Vliende Beertjies or Beertjies, pretty much. So the little flying bears, who are all drawn by the same guys who did Sonic, because it's unmistakable the eyes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually I did send it to you guys. It is in the link there. But yeah, so I don't even know. The 1980s was a very weird time for music. And, oh yes, that's the thing that I wanted to say. With Gummy Bears, I'm not necessarily sure whether it's done overseas or anything like that, but the vast majority of the metal clubs, or the ones that used to exist here in South Africa, like sometime throughout the evening, they would just randomly like play the Gummy Bears theme song. And all you see is a whole bunch of like hardcore metalheads literally all dancing around to Gummy Bears.
Yes.
Because we're all kids inside. It's amazing. I love doing it.
Well, it's like that dinosaur show we talked about before. Remember? We talked about that, right? The dinosaur metal band from Finland.
Yes.
Magical for the children.
Yes. I know that the one song is about a mammoth, but the music video looks terrifyingly pedo. I'm serious.
You guys talk about PETA, and I have not heard from PETA in like a decade.
No, not PETA, pedo.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
It's a pronunciation difference.
No.
So yeah, like, yeah, like we had what was it? One of the like alt furries got arrested for that not too long ago. It was on Twitter. Yeah, that was charming. I always love it when someone in the fandom does something like stupid and awful. And I'm like, oh no, don't let this be the thing that like people see about the fandom. Like, yeah. And so anyway, like, let's see. So that's what I've been up to. Let's see. We are. Oh man, what else is on my plate? I am working on True North, that Canadian furry anthology. Mm-hmm. I've been working with a couple different a couple. I've managed to recruit a couple more writers to be in it. I am gonna see if I can like get some artists to hop on board to just do like pin-up stuff. Like, I don't know if you guys ever... Was there much of like a zine culture in South Africa?
They attempted to. They really attempted to do that with like ordering things and having it come to you in the mail on a month-by-month
basis,
or like distributing them at conventions or meetups.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Zines are different from magazines in that, like, for those of you listening at home, zines are like, I am making this on a photocopier at the copy store, like at the packaging supply store. I am photocopying my amazing thing, and then I'm going to like give it away to people at a convention. It's like stapled together. Like that's a zine. Versus a magazine, which is like made by professionals. And so in furry, like in early furry culture, like that before like the internet was super prevalent, that was like a fairly common way to like show people furry art and furry stories and whatever. And they varied in quality quite a bit. Mm-hmm. But like that's how people distributed like early Star Trek /fic as well. And things like that, is they would make zines. And so, with this True North thing, we're hearkening back to that a little bit with, like, people, like, they would use pre-existing art, because you'd just be like, well, anyone who gives me permission to use their art, I'm going to probably use it because, like, I don't have FA. I can't just look it up, because this is all happening in, like, 1987 or something, or 1990. Yeah. And so, like, they would occasionally have standalone art, unlike in, like, say, Heat, where they, all of the art is, like, attached to, like, it's an illustration for a story or a poem, or it's, like, an advertisement for a product that doesn't exist. And so in zines, they would tend to have, like, just art, and they'd say, here's art by so-and-so. Isn't that cool that you got to see some art today? Mm-hmm. Too bad there's no infinite art machine we can just stare at for a while. And so we're hearkening back to that a little bit by like I'm contacting like Shinigami Girl and Annie Airy and TK and people and saying like, hey, what can I get from you that I can just put in here as a cool thing, as a project? And it's been really interesting, like as like the person organizing it, it's been really interesting to put it together, just because like I have this weird limitation. It's like someone telling you, like, tell me a story, but without using the letter E. Like, make a furry anthology, but they can only be from Canada.
Okay.
And I'm like, man. Yeah, and so, like, I'm like, there's no, like, registry for this. So I'm like, okay, wait. So-and-so, like, I don't know, Kenket. I'm like, okay, Kenket is from the UK, but I think she told me her passport one time is, like, a dual passport. It's a dual passport to Canada. Right? Mm-hmm. Right? Does that make any sense to anyone? And, like, I'm, like, asking, like, and I've been wrong multiple times. Like, so, like, you're from Canada? And they're like, what? What are you talking about? Like, I live in Vermont. Fuck. And so...
Damn it.
Damn it. Why don't you... what was it? I told Husketeer she should just move to Canada so that I can, like, have her write a story. But anyway, so... Yeah, so, like, that's... I think that it's cool to see... Like, I've been encouraging... And I encourage you guys, too. Like, whatever place in the world you're from, have furries from your part of the world, like, make cool stuff and tell everybody that you're from there. Because otherwise people just assume that furries are, like, from, like, the U.S. when on, like, FA. Like... Even I do it occasionally, where someone will be like, hey, how much to have this shipped? And I'll be like, yeah, like, I'll ship you my book for this much. And I'm like, wait, are you outside the U.S.? Because it's like 9 times out of 10, they are from the U.S. But, like, because, like, it's in English, some of them are Westerns. I'm like, okay, so, like, you're probably here. If they speak pretty good English, I'm like, okay, you're probably from the U.S. But, like, that doesn't mean anything in the age of the internet. Like, you could be from, like... Yeah. You could want me to ship it to Antarctica, for all I know.
Nope, Australia.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be like 10 times the cost of the book to ship it there, but yeah, sure, okay. I've shipped things to Australia. I shipped the card game to Australia.
Hell, you shipped shit
a couple
to us.
times. I shipped stuff to you guys. So all of the swag has been distributed from the box.
Yes, it has.
Guys.
Yes.
I have since telling people that story, I have had people donate unused con shirts like that they've received for being sponsors at conventions for random conventions. So that is going to be the padding in whatever I send you next.
Yay!
So you guys can be like, yeah, man, I was totally at frickin' this con in Brazil.
Yeah.
In 2014. I was totally at, like, Anthrocon 2009, as you see.
Yeah. I went to Midwest Fur Fest 2012, I think.
Right, whatever.
How was it?
I
It was great. It's fine. It was amazing. Loved it.
Loved it so much. It was crazy time. Like, there was dancing and furries, and it was just the best. Like, but you can just describe things that you see pictures of, and that probably happened.
I was drunk.
You're like, yeah, man,
it
was
I
a
can't
rave.
remember anything.
I was drunk. I don't know. Who did you talk to? I don't know. Just start like making up furry names.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I spent the whole time hanging out with Gray Cat.
It's
Gray
like
Cat. He goes by Gray Cat. You know, he goes by Sega Leopard or something now. Oh yeah, man, I think I've heard of him.
Yeah, it reminds me of that one episode of Moonbeam City where the guy, the one character has essentially like plays himself off as this really rich guy with a huge collection of rare blues records, and he just keeps naming people by literally putting together words from the environment, and somehow that registers with like this group of collectors that he's like trying to impress. So he becomes this expert on blues records literally by saying things like Jimmy McNo-Nose or fucking shit like that.
Right. And so yeah, but anyways, you get back to it, like I always think it's cool to have that, like, since furry has the ability to have that broader perspective, like, here are some furries from South Africa, and they're going to tell you what the fandom's like here. Like when you guys had that article on Dogpatch, and it was like a state of the fandom thing, or was it a con report?
I think it was a con report.
Yeah, like that's just cool, like that we can do that, and you know, I encourage any of you guys listening to do it and like tell people more about it, because like that's interesting to people who don't live there. Like it's mundane to you guys that they that they put frickin' like David the Gnome into Afrikaans. Like, oh yeah, everybody knows that. I had no clue. You know, Samurai Pizza Cats, you know, whatever. You know, because you guys are always busting these out for me, where you're just like, oh yeah, frickin' like, you know, Samurai Pizza Cats like really happened here, like that was a thing, like that was real life, and I'll be like, what? And you're like, oh, you didn't know? Yeah, like. It's real, like robot cat people, man. Yeah. What?
Yeah, robot cat people in English where they don't know what the actual source text was.
Right. You know, but that's how it is when I talk to you guys, because you know, like these things are normal to you, and so you talk about them like they are normal.
Yeah, fair point.
So anyway, all right, cool. Well.
Yeah.
Are we over time?
Yeah, we are way over time. Like, I think it's about time for we can wrap this up. This was fun as shit, though.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Really,
and so we will have to do it. I think we've given each other like homework now to go and review, so we can reconvene after we watch all these shows.
Yeah,
like listen to the Afrifur podcast, because like it'll tell you all of the things that you should go and watch after that.
Yeah, it's like go here for media homework.
Yeah. Well, and, you know, and that's one of those things where, like, in the fandom, that's part of why I like it so much, is that people are like, have you seen this crazy thing? Mm-hmm. Oh, no.
Did you know this about that
like,
weird show?
Yeah. Like, oh. Like, what was it? Did you guys see that Fennec animation that came out a while ago? We'll close on that.
The one where he's, like, eating the little baby Fennec and the apparently adoptive father Fennec.
Right. Let me find it so I can share it with everybody here.
The CG one.
Yeah, do you guys have it handy?
I've only seen GIFs of it. I haven't seen the whole thing.
What?
Yeah.
1 second. I'm locating it now. I also watched the new My Little Pony season, and that was pretty solid, as always. It's kind of like Marvel movies, where if it wasn't,
there will be
I would be concerned. Right.
What season are they in right now?
7, something like that.
Oh God! The last time I watched My Little Pony was season 4.
It's still good.
I refuse to indulge.
No, is it indulge though?
I don't know. Is it indulge? From the outset, it seems way too saccharine for me. Far too saccharine.
Indulge it.
I'm okay, thanks.
My Old Pony. I didn't think I would.
BoJack Horseman is my equine related animated show. I have one slot for that and it's filled. Thank you.
But it's
you filled it with you filled your slot with your daily equine injection.
Yeah.
Here's so first of all, I like My Little Pony because it's basically Dungeons and Dragons. It's owned by Hasbro, so they can kind of just do whatever. And so Pinkie Pie gets to do all these things that bards can do, and no one ever calls it out. And there are bugbears and things, and all these other D&D monsters are in it. I like it. It's silly and fun. So here's this, and here is Desert Critters, which if you guys haven't, if you listeners have not seen, you should watch. It is 2.5 minutes long and super cute. It's about FedEx.
Yeah, I see.
It's like someone's student film.
It's cute.
So, anyway, I assume this is what your life is. I assume.
In what regard?
Because Africa is all one place.
Oh, no. Yeah, it is totally.
But yeah,
it is
sure.
all,
Why
it
the
is
hell
all
not?
one place. All of those things happen at once.
Yeah, I'm
just fall
Skyping
into
from
the
under
American
a tree.
stereotype.
Right.
There's
there's
an
Ethernet
connection port in this baobab that I'm sitting under.
And I was going to say it has to be a baobab. It can't be any other kind of tree. That is the only tree.
The other option would be camel thorn.
I moved to the closest watering hole in the district.
Don't joke. We're very close to that.
Fair enough.
Cape Town has an enormous drought. Holy shit.
Dreadnought mentions that the fight between Twilight and Tyrek was like Warcraft versus Dragon Ball.
Yeah. It's serious business. They don't mess around. But anyway, yeah. I was expecting this to be we're getting our Wi-Fi from those little things on top of giraffes right now. Make sure there's a good distribution of giraffes. Right. Right, to extend them with the tinfoil.
Yeah.
So, anyway. All right. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, this was fun. Thank you, Tempe, for once again
really
stopping by.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then we'll have to do this again once we've done our homework.
Totes.
Yes.
And we will give everyone our reviews of these various shows.
If I have time. I honestly...
Particularly Rimba Racers.
I will totally watch Rimba Racers and get back to you. Because we need to figure out if animation studios are trying to show us as furries stuff, hey, here's the thing. We need to get on this and get Lackadaisy the animated series happening or something.
Mm-hmm.
Totes.
Yeah.
We need to get, or for since you like BoJack, maybe Lackadaisy would be too saccharine. We'd have to get Nordgard the animated series, and everyone dies
all the time. Or everyone just has clinical depression.
I'm sorry, okay? Like, I don't know. BoJack is really cool. It's not that I'm manically depressive or anything. It's just I love the show. No, it's so good.
The thing about BoJack is it is the archetypal furry show in a way. Because I was watching, there's a thing on National Public Radio. They were interviewing the guy who made it, and he was talking about how you can get away with. Remember the scene where they're all talking about the movie release, and they're all upset because the movie release got delayed by a shooting.
Yeah.
And then
thoughts and prayers.
They're like, thoughts and prayers. And the guy who made the show is like, it's super evil to be like, yeah, thoughts and prayers, really callously about this, because he's like, that's a really like evil thing to do. But he's like, because it's like a turtle and a pink cat and like all these, it's okay because they're cartoons.
Yeah.
He's like, so we can talk about these things much like Star Trek can talk about it because it's aliens. You know, we can't talk about racism, but we can talk about the black and white aliens. You know, same thing with like these animals. We can talk about it like this because it's animals, and we can therefore have like progress on these topics.
Yeah,
he was like, they were talking to him, and they were like, "Do you ever have jokes that you can't tell on the show that are too dark?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, all the time." He's like, he's like, he's like, whatever. It's like BoJack had like a bad, one of the episodes when BoJack did something stupid and got a bunch of bad press. He's like, well, luckily today, another cop shot another black kid. Those cops just can't stop shooting black kids. And they're like, that was too dark. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I could see that. Stage. Yeah, but anyway, that's BoJack though. It's like they're always kind of like that's the purpose that it serves. Like I like it when things are furry for a reason. And early on, I was like, does it make any sense that these people are furry, or is it just a way to like have an interesting visual style? And that was the purpose.
Yeah, it helps you to immediately like suspend disbelief, and you can just run with any joke. It's like you've already bought into the fact that in this world, humans and animals like coexist and can co-breed. So everything else is fair game.
Yeah. I need to move to the Labrador Peninsula. It seems like a nice place.
It seems like a nice place indeed.
Or all that in that. If you guys haven't seen it, for those of you who haven't seen it, like there's a place that Mr. Peanut Butter, one of the characters, is from, and he's a yellow Labrador dog, and so he goes back to the Labrador Peninsula, which is shaped like a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And everyone there is
its slogan is nothing bad ever happens on the Labrador Peninsula.
Right, which is what he says all the time. And so, I watch it. I'm in it just for Mr. Peanut Butter. Like, I could edit out all the BoJack and just see Mr. Peanut Butter, and I would still watch it.
I was solidly in it just to see what would happen in season 4 for Princess Carolyn, because god damn it, that woman.
I know she tries hard.
She does.
That pink.
And then it happens with. I really thought it was going to go to the distance, but whatever. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spoil
so anyway. All right.
No spoilers.
So I've only watched BoJack in addition to everything else.
Yeah.
We have now given your listeners something to watch for every hour of every day until the next week.
Essentially.
Recording. They should be okay. But yeah, I will report back to you guys once I have watched that.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks again for swinging by, and thanks for listening, guys.
Absolutely. Have a good one.
Guys.
Talk to you guys later.
Cheers.
Cheers.